just so much. Like it is just on constantly. And I think I like it to get to the point where it's so much a part of my kind of psyche, or, you know, I know it so inherently that I sort of let the ideas come to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I often go through a process of, because I illustrate, I often go through a process of just drawing, like kind of almost doodling, you know,
Hmm.
and going on Pinterest rabbit holes as well. And then, like I said earlier, you know, with you and I, it's sort of knowing you and your project so well that it's like this bigger story, that each clip is part of a bigger story almost. So I let
Yeah.
the idea naturally kind of come to me. And then obviously like the lyrics, I mean, funnily enough, I would say the ideas come to me more from the feeling of a song than the lyrics of a song.
Yeah, I think
Often.
I think that's the same for me, just visually. And like as you were saying,
Mm,
when you sketch those stuff out, like that's like those storyboards out, I find that is really exciting as well because
mm.
even though it's so far from getting a visual, I feel like you really can pinpoint the most like simple version of the idea, and it's still like when you just like when you sketched out the like the revolving thing for distance, and then you sketched out
Yeah.
the storyboard for as long as you care, and you made that
Hmm.
into a video. Like all
Yeah.
these little things that you do just like really kind of bring it to life so early, so it gets everyone super excited. So I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
super
and
cool.
it helps us all to kind of understand whether it's going to work or not. I don't know whether you're going to be able to see this, but I just found the sketch.
Ah,
I,
sick. Oh, you
I wonder
sent
if it'll.
that.
Oh, there we go. Oh yeah, does that,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
get
yeah.
that? And so yeah, so that was kind of the initial sketch. I don't know if you guys can see, but it's sort of the only difference in the end was that we were going to have like a studio set up. So if you can see the kind of musical equipment and so on, and that was
Yeah,
going to be like your home studio, if you remember. But
yeah,
then
I remember
once
that.
we were looking at it, and I hit up my poor friend from Sydney and like borrowed all his music equipment.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then we kind of set it up and it just looked too busy. And it was a pretty last minute decision actually to take all of the flowers from the gas scene and just do one scene that's just all flowers.
Hmm.
And I'm really glad it worked out that well, because you know it really because the guitar's the main, is really the music of the song. So I'm glad in the end that happened.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that yeah, I remember thinking about it because it was a lot. It was a bit smaller than we thought, all the spaces, and I remember
Right.
seeing all those keyboards, and the idea was just like have like synths everywhere and
That's it.
guitars everywhere, and I was like, I don't think this is gonna really work. And
Right.
then
Yeah. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
flowers just looked amazing. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was happy with that.
Thank God. Okay. So next question for you. Is the video based off your own experience? Asked by a lot of
Oh,
people, by
we're getting personal now.
the way.
I think a lot of these songs, like a lot of these songs, that I wrote with Sarah, in 2019, were like really, I don't know, they weren't really specific about my experiences. Like a few of them were. I think Distance wasn't Distance. I was like kind of going from actually one of Sarah's stories. I forgot, and I don't
Mm,
want to completely give out what that was
mm,
for all these people. But yeah, I think it was just she was telling me a story of what she had gone through once in her life, and I was just kind of trying to relate to it, and that's how it came
mm.
to be. But I feel like you know we've all had a breakup before, and we all know the stages, and like even if it wasn't completely specific to what happened to me, all these stages, I wasn't like
Yeah.
in a gas station in the desert with my shirt off.
Oh, you
That's
weren't?
not really what I did. But like it definitely just the feeling, the emotion of the video. I feel like is quite relatable. So
Mm,
I'd just say kinda.
kinda. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess we hoped that it was based off a human experience, you know,
Yeah.
because we all know that experience, and we all know that we go through different phases of processing.
Hmm.
And I guess the other thing that maybe we didn't fully delve into so much, but I remember when you and I were talking about it before going into it, in fact, maybe even before coming up with the concept, was that for you, it was also about keeping your distance from someone because you know they're going to hurt you. Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like that's also a really relatable thing where you know that someone's not good for you, or that you're either too into them, or and it's not going to work out, or it's just a feeling where it's not meant to be, and so you have to actually keep I actually related to that.
Yeah, I
You
think
got it.
a lot of
Yeah.
people have, and that kind of works in both ways, even
Mm,
before starting a relationship or after a
right.
breakup.
Exactly.
Like it's
Mm,
always like it's usually really important to keep your distance. It's like what is it, the 6 week rule where you just don't have any, or 5 week rule, you don't have any contact with the person. And I
right.
think that's healthy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got another question. Does Rule behave on set, and what's Rule like to work with?
Yeah, you do. You do. I think that, well, I love working with you. I think we have a lot of fun on set, but it's also, it is, it's a lot, especially when we try to do these things in a day.
Yeah.
It's like, probably what people see in the behind the scenes when we're mucking around is like small moments, especially for me.
Just like, I don't know, fucking around. And well, yeah, just seeing the behind the scenes video, I'm just like, most of the time I'm just laughing and having a good time while Jeremy's just like, ah!
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I get it a bit easy, but
Yeah.
no, it is definitely a fun experience. That I feel like we always I come out after it just being like so stoked that we did it, and so like
Yeah.
relieved as well.
Exactly. Yeah. What was the funniest or most interesting scene to do for you?
I
And that
think
was asked by Roro does De Silva on Instagram.
that's a cool name. Yeah, I think there's a few ones where like they're definitely the pink tears. That was pretty like I kept having these cramps in my leg for some
That's
reason
right.
during this one set,
Yeah.
and like really annoying because I had to stay super still and I
Yeah.
couldn't move. I couldn't blink because my eye was like it was gonna get all the stuff in my eye,
Yeah.
um yeah, and we had to do like a bunch of those shots. And I don't know, my foot just kept cramping up. So I kept like shaking my leg underneath the
Yeah.
table. And I was like, yeah, and I just was in this annoying, like just inconvenient pain. So I guess that wasn't the funniest, but it would have been funny to watch at least. Because I was
Well,
just like,
I remember when it first happened because, like, as you say, the whole vibe was that you were completely still, and we were like mid take, and before you told us, you just started like moving, and I was like, "What's going on?" Because your legs
yeah.
started going up and down, and then we realized you'd completely lost all circulation to your leg.
Yeah, it was super weird. And then I
But
don't know, the other one where was a shot that we actually didn't use. Little
oh
one
yeah,
where I was walking around the
yes,
like yeah, there's one shot that we did that was just me, yeah, just walking, keeping in line with the camera, which was stationary, and I just kept like walking through the sets. And since there was so much like obstruction on the sets and so many like things to walk over, I just like kept tripping over, and that was and like it was quite terrifying. I don't know why. Like I was only like a meter off the ground and it was going so slowly, but I just
well, there
for
was
some reason
so much
felt like
stuff
I was
right
just
on the
gonna fall
edge.
and get crushed by it. I just had a feeling I was gonna get in the middle and just get mangled. But
Totally.
yeah. Anyway, I'm fine. I'm
Yeah.
here.
It's funny.
Um,
I was gonna say before you move on, I was gonna say it's funny how we've put you in such like I've put you in such awkward sort of physical positions in numerous videos because
yeah.
when we did the painkiller video, Rule had to. If you guys have seen the painkiller vid at the very end when Rule's head dissipates and floats away, it's just his head on the ground. And so the way that we did that was that he had to like, it was so awkward because you had to like push your shoulder down and like, because your head had to be completely flat, and it
Yeah,
took so
yeah,
long, and you had to be like really happy while you sung it. And then the other one was the sun-dried tomato in As Long As You Care, because again, you had to, oh yeah, it was a similar thing where you were kind of quite bright-eyed and so on, but you just had to be in this like really
yeah.
weird
No, I
position.
couldn't even move like my face. It was just my mouth that I had to
That's
move.
right,
So
exactly.
without, I was a bunch of
Yeah.
weird stuff. The next question for you is, what inspired each section of the cylinder? And that was asked by Zoe Guzman.
Cool. Yeah. Well, it's funny because I've seen that, you know, a lot of people have asked, yeah, what's kind of the meaning behind, you know, each of the sets. And you know, the thing that I love, you know, in art that I really dig, I love that it's for the interpretation of the viewer. You know, so there's inspiration that comes for, you know, so there's my meaning, that which would be actually probably different to your meaning, you know, to the other people on set's meaning. But you know, in terms of each section, I mean, going through it, I suppose. Well, actually, I don't even know if you know this, that the scene with the petrol pump. When I went to the studio a couple of days before, just to map it out and see how we're going to do it all, there was sort of like a mezzanine. And that, you know, they do a lot of film stuff there. So on the mezzanine, the petrol pump was up there in the studio. Yeah, and the jerry cans. And so I believe, yeah, because I think previously it was going to be, maybe it was going to be all flowers. And so I was like, oh, yo, to the art, because I had an art director who helped me to bring it all to life. And I was like, yo, what if we put that in? And he's like filling it up and blah, blah, blah. So for me, the initial idea just came from, you know, if I'm being honest, it came from just the beauty of the thing, because it just looks so damn cool. And
Yeah.
it's nostalgic because it's vintage and it's worn. And I think for me, you know, a lot of people love to take photos of like dilapidated old petrol stations that are no longer in use, because they are an interesting image, because it's like, it's this hub which used to be full of life, but now it no longer is. And often those places are in the middle of nowhere. And I think the image of a petrol pump like that, especially with sort of plants around it or desert or whatever, is that it feels like it's desolate and it's lonely and you're in the middle of nowhere. And then I
Yeah.
like the fact that you're filling you're filling the jerry can indefinitely. It's just going on forever, which I like, because to me that represents that it's a never-ending task. There's like, not to get too heady about it, but there's this old
This is getting really deep into this.
Yeah. Well, to get real deep on it, I was thinking about it today, and because actually a friend asked me that same question about the meaning of stuff, and I was thinking about I when I was back at school, I studied ancient Greece, and there's the afterlife in ancient Greek belief, where it was sort of like hell, or Hades they called it, and there's a mythological character called Sisyphus, who used to, his eternal task was to push this boulder up this hill, and then when it got to the top of the hill, it would roll back down again. And then he would go back down and he would push the boulder up. And the idea is that he would do that for eternity.
Yeah.
And I always connected with that image. It's like, yeah, it's almost like this, I like the idea of this eternal task. You're never going to fill that jerry can up. You're never going to fill yourself up. You know what I mean?
Well, man, that's fucking so much more deep than I thought about. I just thought it was a cool visual. But damn, man, you really think about stuff, don't you?
Well, I mean, I think, again, like I said before, I think the truth of the matter is that no, I love the way that the petrol pump looked. But to me, I think that they're often the reason that we do love these images, even if we don't think, you know, we all have a different meaning attached to an image like that. But for me, I fell in love with that image maybe for deeper reasons than I might have noticed at the time.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? And then I like the fact that in retrospect, we get to look back and go, oh, actually, maybe it's kind of this meaning. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, there's always so many ways to interpret it, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's definitely another way. But I think not many people will probably.
No, exactly. Yeah.
But like, still, like that's great. That's cool to think that there is so many ways to interpret just a petrol can. So
Well, that's it. And, you know, there's no time to go into every single scene, I don't think. But, you know, but I think that the desert scene where you're sitting on the rock and there's the solar panel. I like the idea that that's where you're charging up. You know, you're charging up from having this impact or this blow in your life, and you're getting ready to, you know, go back to life, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I think that's another cool one. But yeah, wow.
And then I don't know, yeah, fully sorry about that.
No, please, I love it. They're loving it. I'm reading the comments, and they're just saying, "What an educational king." But
but what do you reckon about the plinth end?
the plinth end?
Like the very last scene with the.
Oh yeah. I think that was just like, well, yeah. I remember you were saying in the BTS video, grief of it all, and it's like really kind of coming to terms with it, and it's like the idea of these stages of a breakup, like it's the death of of that period of your time in your life. It's the death of that period of getting over this person. Like it's kind of this person is like kind of dying in your mind a bit, and it's kind of falling out. And after that, once you get all those tears out, once you get all those good times out, I guess then you're just like back to start fresh, which I think I got from it.
Yeah, that exactly, and I love that like I like that because it's a cylindrical, circular movement, and I was thinking as well how it's like our head. Our head is like a cylinder, so it's like all the feelings that we go through like that, and so I liked the idea that the last stage is a type of death. You know, and in order for then the next one is like would be a rebirth, you know, again type of thing.
Yeah, well,
too deep.
Moving on.
Well, this is a good segue question, which is why did you go with pink tears instead of blue or green or purple? Asked by Gretch on Twitter.
I think the pink tears. First of all, it just looked really nice with the white, and I think that just like aesthetically, I think that was the nicest thing. And I think there was a few references we saw of pink tears somewhere. I don't know where, probably just on one of your interest things. But yeah, and I think as I was saying before, like kind of relieving these good times through pink tears is a bit of a, I don't know, contrast with like how sad it is. Like it's still kind of a bit of it's like you're kind of crying the happiness out.
Yeah.
In a way, I don't know. That's another.
I think so.
Way of,
because I guess pink is kind of the prettiest color we could think of, and also you could say it's a feminine color as well. And a feminine color, and so yeah, I think that's right. It's like crying out the beauty of the relationship or whatever is kind of a nice thought. But again, you know, it's like with the petrol pump. It's like, truth is, you know, it just looked really dope, and you know, a big part of you know, the creation of these videos is aesthetics and color matching, and you know, when you sit back and you look at the whole piece, what's actually gonna tell a visual, what's gonna, you know, it's not even telling a visual story, it's just aesthetically it's a piece of the puzzle. So that pink amongst that white is just a piece of the puzzle in the color scheme, you know, going around. So yeah. It was about beauty.
I got another question for you. Did you have any other ideas for this video?
Do you remember?
I do remember, yes. I
Yeah.
remember I shut it down pretty quickly.
Yeah. Well, so something that that I'm sure people would find interesting is that and some of you might know already is that me and the team, Michelle, Joel, and Nate, we all went and quarantined for 2 weeks in Darwin because we're all from Melbourne. So we all quarantined in Darwin for 2 weeks to go to Sydney in order to shoot these videos. And so the crazy thing, it was actually such a crazy experience because I didn't have the ideas going into quarantine. And so we went in and we set up, and then I had to go. It was so much pressure because it was like, come up with 2 music video concepts for this and say it over. But not only that, it had to be something that we could shoot in 2 weeks time. And also with a crew that I'd never, because I hadn't worked out of Sydney before. So I had to also choose an entire crew to work with. So it was such
I felt
intense.
so bad for you, man. I was like, how the hell are we doing this to this man? I felt so bad. But then you got you got that first concept like pretty quickly, in like a couple days, and then send that to me. And I remember I loved the say it over concept, and there was there was a few other ideas with that as well, with like, we won't get into that. I feel like that's a whole nother 20-minute story. But like with distance, for example, you can say like what the first idea for distance was.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was basically everything, a home and a person and everything completely wrapped in plastic. So the idea was basically, it came from just a visual vibe, like a vibe that I enjoyed visually, which was sort of wrapping everything in plastic to show a kind of disconnection. So it was funny because I pitched you Say It Over and Distance at the same time, and so it was kind of cool because you were into Say It Over, so it was like, okay, yes, and then you weren't into this one. It was like, okay, that's all right, because we know at least we're doing Say It Over.
Yeah.
I went back to the drawing board, but the thing that you rightfully weren't into was that you didn't want it to feel too obvious around distance being a sort of metaphor around COVID and how we have distance from each other and how we have to wrap ourselves in plastic and all of that. So there was another idea, and there often is, that's part of the process. And because I've been a graphic designer for so long and whatnot, and I always have clients, I'm so used to, it's not like it hurts. It's just like, okay, I better get cracking again.
Anyway.
Yeah. So where are we up to? Oh yeah. So why are you at a gas station when you can't even drive? Serena, aka Rules Medicine on Twitter.
Oh well, man, this driver's license story it just keeps getting longer, I swear. But I lost it 5 months ago, almost 5.5 months ago, and it was supposed to be a 3-month ban, and like I was supposed to get it yesterday actually. Yesterday was like a few days ago, and I went in, called them up, was like, great to get my license back. Thanks so much. And then they said, oh, no, it's another month. And I was like, why? And I was like, why are you doing this to me? And then they're like, oh, no, it's just like it was another point taken off your license. And I was like, why? Just like, oh, because, it was like double demerits that day or something. And I was like, oh, you're kidding me. That was another month. Anyway, but I'm at the gas station, like Jeremy said, metaphorically. And
you were Sisyphus pushing up the boulder.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was doing. I was not driving. I was rolling boulders. What's the next one? Why are there 5 rules in the music video? Why not 4?
5 rules.
Why
I actually didn't. I wish I hadn't counted. Are there 5? Are there? Because that's what we could fit.
Yeah, I guess that's really all. That's all really is that. There's no deep meaning for that.
Yeah.
There's no Greek mythology around the 5 rules.
Yeah, I should make one up.
Yeah, you could definitely bullshit and everyone would believe you.
I mean, yeah, it was definitely another interesting thing about the initial concept for this video was that when I pitched it initially to you, it was actually going to be a circular set built out of like photographic backdrops.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was going to be a circular track. So you can build a dolly track in a circle. So it was going to be a circular track. And then the camera was going to move around around the set.
Yeah.
And so that was actually what, you know, what everyone green lit. And then I went into, as I'm in quarantine, like calling every 20 VisFX people to try and figure out how to do it, because we had to repeat, obviously, you know, coming off the back of we would have done that was what's called motion control, a motion control dolly setup. So it's like when we click go on it, it would go around the dolly as you moved around the set.
Yeah,
and so
it was a very technical job, that one. I remember hearing that. It's like, do you reckon we can pull this off? And you were like, yeah, I reckon. And I was like, sick, cool,
yeah.
this is easy, great, love this. And then, well, yeah, like a few days before, we're like, okay, no, it's going to be revolving. And I was like,
yeah,
that's not even cooler. It was going to be more fun.
Yeah, totally. I'm so glad that it ended up being that. And so it was on, we ended up putting the set on when people shoot, when people table and it spins around. And so but yes, to answer the question, there's 5 rules because that's what we could fit. So whose turn is it? Writing on the paper.
It was 2 things. When I first, because a diary to write in, so I was really trying hard not to read through that while shooting. But then I just immediately started writing just like a diss track about Nate. And I just like, I wrote like but yeah, no, I did that. And then I think I was like smiling too much while writing that. And then I just started actually writing the lyrics. It seemed obviously probably a lot more appropriate of me just being like, fuck you, Nate, you prick. I think that applications, I feel like we've kind of already covered it. Like, in every question, we've kind of covered all these. But let's have a look at the live one. So we're talking a lot about the video, social distance. I think because obviously we're doing it. We've done so many music videos now in COVID times. Like as long as you can shoot, that was hectic. That was like everyone couldn't touch, and it was such like a crowded house.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I was like the only one that wasn't wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Because I was the only one that like I couldn't like I don't know, because I was basically in every shot. So every time I was just walking to set, like I just would just be like, it would always just fuck up something if I wore a mask. But yeah, that was super weird. Like everyone around me was wearing a mask, and I was just like running free.
Yeah, fully.
Yeah, I would have breathed, and I felt so bad. But yeah, I guess that's kind of everything. That's basically like we've told you guys, I think, more than enough about the Distance music video.
Way
And
too
thank
much.
you, Jeremy, for coming on this. I hope you guys enjoyed. Yeah, I'll see you all later. Oh,
And so, oh yeah, what you got there? What you
I
got?
just
What you
remembered.
remembering?
I'm remembering that I'm allowed to tell you guys a little something, and it's pretty big news. So next week, I'm putting out a song. It's coming out on Friday. The song is called Too Many Feelings. And on the Thursday, I'm going to be doing like a little premiere on TikTok, because we all know how much I love TikTok. And I'm going to be doing like a TikTok live stream at like 11:30 p.m., like right before it comes out. I'm going to play you guys a song, and I'm going to talk about it. It's going to be a good time. So come along for that. Anyway, next week, song's coming out. Really excited
When
for
was
it.
it? When was it?
It's next Friday.
Thursday.
And then the live stream is going to be on the Thursday, so at
I see.
11:30 p.m. So yeah. Anyway, come check it out, and more details very soon. Anyway, love you guys. I'll see you all later. See you, Jeremy.
Fun times, bro. Much love.